First, I want you to notice today, their position changed. Up until Pentecost, God's people had been playing defense. That was the only thing they knew to do. That whenever something would happen, they'd wait for something to happen, and then when it happened, they'd go to God. They'd cry out to God. They'd say, God, can you help me? God, can you touch me? God, can you do this? God, can you do that? Whenever trouble would come up, or whenever another kingdom would come in and try and take them over, they would wait, and then they'd go and call on God. With their sin, they'd wait until they had committed a sin, and then they'd go out, they'd get a lamb, they'd slay the lamb, and they'd make a sacrifice. They were all the time playing defense, but on the day of Pentecost, they changed and started playing offense, and they had power, and instead toe to toe with the devil, and say, my Bible said, you shall be holy, for I am holy, and they had power and to live a holy life. Oh, some of you only have the gospel this morning. The game had changed. They went from having to worry about, is the devil going to get me today? Is the trouble going to come today? And to being able to call out to God and talk ear to ear with God and telling God, keep me from evil.
Amen.
Their position changed. It changed come Pentecost. Secondly, this morning, their equipment changed. Their position changed because rather than having 2 or 3 sacrifices, Jesus Christ came in and one time entered in to the Holy of Holies, one time laid out His own blood on the altar of God, atonement for then and forevermore. And then their equipment changed. Up until Pentecost, you didn't have all the tools we have today. Up until Pentecost, you had prayer, you had fasting, and you had yearly sacrifices. All you had was types and shadows of things to come. But after Pentecost, the equipment changed. After Pentecost, you weren't just praying ever so often in the temple. After Pentecost, you weren't just praying in a language that the devil can understand. But after Pentecost, the tongues of fire came down, and you were able to speak in a language that you never knew, that the devil couldn't understand. After Pentecost, and you received prophecy to all men, and God said, I'm going to give unto men gifts. After Pentecost, you have the authority and to stand up and deal with Satan, and the equipment had changed. Now, He didn't come to do away with everything. We still have fasting. We can still make a sacrifice of praise. We can still make a sacrificial offering of financial status. But now, not only do we have that, but He said, you shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. I'm going to give you away, and to go out in the highways and the hedges and convince them to come in. The equipment changed. Thirdly, this morning, their position changed, their equipment changed, and the power changed. You think about this. Up until Pentecost, you had the priests. You had the Pharisees. You had the Sadducees. You had the Sanhedrin Council. That's all you had. They held all the tools. They knew all the secrets. You didn't even have a Bible. Hello? Somebody ought to be happy you got a Bible. They still places in this world ain't even got a Bible. Up until Pentecost, the high priest got to do everything. Anything spiritual, God dealt with the high priest about. But then at Pentecost, the power changed.
Yes, amen.
It changed. No longer do we have to go to a priest. No longer do we have to tell somebody else what our problem is. No longer does an elite hold all the cards, but now we've got authority, we've got a direct way to talk to the Father, and it takes care of us. He has given us the power. I want you to know the power changed at Pentecost. Could you imagine? Could you imagine today what it would be like if you had to come to me, Marley, and go into my office and tell me everything and wait for me to absolve you of something? What would happen if something was between you and God and you had a wreck on your way to the church, and there was something standing there between you and God that you had